Matt, thank you so much for organizing this. This would not happen without y'all. I know you know that. I want to make sure everybody else knows what incredible length y'all have gone to bring all these people together. Y'all, we are launching our breakthrough today. We're going to talk about what breakthrough looks like, what it means for you, and what this process looks like in action, in activity. You're committed. You've already said you're going to show up to these classes. Well, learning something and not putting it into action really creates nothing for us. Our outputs are created by our inputs. And so, one of the six personal perspectives, and you'll find this is this is a thread of truth that runs through pretty much all Keller Williams curriculum. The six personal perspectives. One of them is learning for earning's sake, being learning based, but not just being learning based. In fact, I know a guy, I learned German from him when I was in college. He was a professional student for decades and decades. Well, in Germany, he could do that. They paid for him to live and to sustain his lifestyle, and he took college classes continually. He did it for like 30 something years, and he decided, well, I should probably become a contributing member of society. Most of y'all do not have that luxury. Nobody is going to pay you to learn. They will pay you for what you learn should you choose to put it into action. All right. So I'm so excited. This is, as always, an interactive environment. So if I mute you, it's only because we're kind of in between. But I want to invite you to use your voice, use your hands, use the chat box. I've got it up right in front of me. I'm happy to hear your voice. I'll be asking questions. If you have questions and you feel like we're moving past the answers, please let me know. Stop me in my tracks. This entire series is here for you. And you've carved time out of your schedule and put a lot of faith in this. So I want to make sure you get the very most out of that. That said, we're going to jump in. My name is Seth Mills. I operate a real estate team in North Texas. My wife serves our clients in the field. We'll do about 50 transactions this year. We produce about 25 million in volume. And I get to spend all of my time these days working with the incredible agents that are launching their business. I exist as a productivity coach to help people become more productive with their time and with their efforts. And so that's the filter that I have all of this through today. We're talking about database, but we're talking about database in such a way that if you're going to be putting effort into speaking with people and producing opportunities for yourself and for life change for others, how can you do it in such a way that your efforts today scale with time? There's a concept of either incremental returns or residual returns. Well, database allows you to have an effort today that produces a result, but then you continue to get those residual benefits the more and more time goes on. I partnered with Keller Williams International at a high level for a long time as a labs advisor, international ALC member. I am on my KW approved journey right now, and I'm going to drop in the chat box my Instagram handle. I'm going to invite you to follow me there. For those who are bold junkies like I am, I'm doing a series and I'll be dropping video number 8 today on the bold laws. So I'm getting through all 38 of them. I'd love to connect with you on socials. You can find me there at TX Soldum. I put my phone number and my email address in all of these slides that when I teach, because I want you to use them. If I can help you enrich your life or your business in some way, if you feel stuck and you don't know who to turn to, I'd like to be that person to stand in the gap for you, at least for a moment. We've got connections all across this nation, and if you feel lost and if you don't know where to go, please reach out. I'd be happy. If you want to know more about something we talked about this evening, or if I can in any way serve somebody that you know in this area, invariably with these sessions, I've got agents that reach out and want to help people that they know moving to North Texas or that are in North Texas launch a career in real estate. Be super happy to help them. Also, as you know, people that are moving to Texas, I know a lot of really great real estate agents that probably specialize in the neighborhood that your people are looking to move to. So I want to pause right here and level set real quick. What does breakthrough mean to you? Share your voice. You can drop it in the chat. And then Markeisha, after I ask this question, I'm going to come right back around for your question as well. Jennifer, it means that you get it. How do we become licensed in multiple states? Oh, that's an easy answer. You can So it depends on the state, but I would recommend looking into that other state's licensing requirements. Most states you've got to test all over again. Some of them have reciprocal agreements.
I get
Julianne says a breakthrough is an epiphany. Go right ahead. Was that Jonas?
yes, sir. Yep.
Go for it.
Yeah. Cool. I was gonna say like the title breakthrough to me sounds like because I feel like one thing I'm sure a lot of agents, newer agents probably share this in common. Like when you first start off, you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like there's so many different resources. This is the place to make that breakthrough to finally start getting things going. This is like you guys mentioned, like this is going to be the place where we start to learn all these different resources, get everything we need, get that clarity to really build the business and understand what we're doing. So this is kind of like the breakthrough point to where we make that happen. It's kind of how I look at it.
I love it. That's so good, Jonas. What I desire to do is equip you with some models and systems to help you shift your mindset to something intentional with that produces the right activities that allow you to do that. We could do a lot of activities, but if we don't have the right mindset in our activities, we may not get the results we want. And we can do a lot of activities, but if they're not organized with the right business model in mind, and if we don't do them systematically where we would create predictable outcomes, it just becomes this whole scattered approach. And I love what you're seeing or what we're seeing in the chat here. Find the secret sauce, go to the next level. Michelle, I love that concept. Another one of the six personal perspectives is to go from entrepreneurial to purposeful. We're great entrepreneurs. We make a mess out of a lot of things, but we naturally create great outcomes first, based on our messy approaches to things. Some of us have really high natural ceilings of achievement, and yet we're going to bump against that ceiling of achievement at some point. A breakthrough moment would be when you implement something that is different than what you've done so you can crash through that ceiling of achievement, where that ceiling becomes your new floor. It means that systems you put in place are finally working, business improvement, transformation, love it, achievement, innovation, uh, set a new goal in real estate. Oh, I so love that. So you're moving from the tech industry, building your brand. What a cool thing to build a brand that is you. I want to, in case nobody's told you, you are the brand. People choose to do business with you. People have a reason to move, and people move when they have a reason to move. They're going to buy homes, they're going to sell homes when they have a reason to. They choose to work with you because of what you represent to them. So I so love the idea, and we've seen this awakening in our industry of people of real estate agents that are starting to build a personal brand, recognizing that they mean something to the people that they work. What's really cool is when you start looking at what you mean to your clients, you look a lot more deeply at what they mean to you, and we get to work through this law of reciprocation. Listen, breakthroughs naturally come after a breakdown. And in future sessions, you're going to hear about entrepreneurial to purposeful, but I'm going to hint at it real quick. There will come a moment, and many of you have already hit it. You got your license, you're like, finally, I can sell a house. And then you activate your license, you're like, oh, I got to join the board. And oh, what's the MLS? I got to learn to use that. And oh, I got to build my database. And oh, I got to arrange my calendar. And oh, I got to attend these classes and do onboarding. And could I continue? There's this endless list. I know the list of 90-day tasks that we give to our agents here at Dallas Preston Road is huge. And and it's what is required to build a business. Now, not everything will ever be complete. Not everything will ever be finished. And what creates a successful entrepreneur isn't necessarily the same thing that creates a successful sales agent. And yet, in all of this storm, we've got to be able to create a quiet so we can look to what are the most critical things. Let me focus on those and go create my own breakthrough moment. Most of you have systems and models that you already have access to that you can borrow. Come to this place where you can set your mind on what is most critical and go do those activities at a really high level. To build a thriving business, you need a steady stream of buyers and sellers to work with. So this whole conversation is about building a pipeline. With that pipeline will come, for some of you, your very first transaction, your very first listing, perhaps. For some of you, you're engaging this because you want to relaunch your business. Maybe you've had a dry spell. You had a really hot season during the COVID years, or maybe as we came out of the Great Recession, but then like the industry's changed. And in 22, many of our markets came to a screeching halt. And so we've had to reinvent some things that we do. This is your opportunity to create a new stable foundation where you can launch to that next level. In your book, which I trust that you all are following along, if you haven't found it yet, you can go find your participant guide in the emails that you got when you registered for this, or simply log in to Command, click Connect, and you can search Breakthrough or search. I just type in 120. 120, 120 will give you all the guide, the all the resources for these sessions, including your participant guide. Gary Keller says, and this is on page 11 of the guide, it says mindset on the front end, accountability on the other, and you've got all the key ingredients of huge success. Mindset is something you encounter and you reframe and you're constantly developing. Accountability is a personal thing that you show up with. Many of us have worked a job in the past where we were already accountable to somebody else or somebody held us accountable. Well, this is where that messy part of being an entrepreneur shows up. There is nobody that is going to hold us accountable. Nobody can hold us accountable. It's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to us to show up with accountability. You can have people help you build an accountable environment, but that looks like a place that you can show up and be reminded of the things that you've already committed to. So, what do you want your life and business to look like a year from now? I had this conversation with two agents today and one yesterday as well. It was pretty exciting. Eva, I see you on the screen. I think about the conversation we had earlier, and I'm not going to spill all. You're on such a great trajectory in your mindset already. I cannot wait to see your skill set show up to match your mindset and what you are looking to accomplish. But what's cool is we can arrive in our minds at a year from now and to look backward and say, okay, what am I celebrating? The future version of me that is so proud of the year that has come to pass. What have I already accomplished that I'm looking back and celebrating? There's this concept, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but many of us think that we feel like we are defined by our past. That's only true if we've taken our past and we put it back into our future. In fact, for everything that we do, we are drawn, we are pulled into a future state. We have something we want and we move toward it. The things that we move toward, we've never achieved before. Like when I'm approaching even a red light on the street, I'm not at that red light. And yet it is that intersection that I'm drawn toward. I'm not defined by what's happened in the past because every moment is a chance to reinvent. So being clear about what you're pursuing, and I encourage you very strongly to envision it. Like, can you literally see what you are pursuing and move toward it? I'd like to hear from a few of you. What do you want for your life and business to look like a year from now? Marquisha or Marquisha?
It's Marquisha. You had it correct.
Okay, got it.
I just got a question. You said something about a workbook in command or something like that. Do we have to do that? Like, is that mandatory to do the
Hey, that's
work?
up to you. There's a bold law that says the way you participate in here is the way you participate everywhere. So I don't mean to call you out, but you asked the question. And so I would encourage you to get the most out of this experience. There is it's quite a large workbook. And there's a ton of really good content. It's the ability to keep notes. Now, many of you have not printed it out. Maybe you've got a digital copy. If you've got an iPad around, I find that to be the most effective way because I've got the digital copy up in front of me and I can take notes right on my screen. It's really pretty awesome. But totally up to you. You can
Oh,
participate. I can
yeah.
already tell you're engaging at a high level. So if you listen along and take notes on a pad paper, go for it. I'm going to have the slides up this entire session. But there are additional things and there are some activities that you'll be missing out on if you don't have access to that workbook. But hey, here's what's cool. You're going to get access to all of these videos. So for those of you who aren't prepared with your workbook tonight, do not stress about it. Get that workbook by the time tomorrow comes around, whether you print it or get it prepped on your iPad, or maybe you're just scrolling on a side screen or whatever that looks like. Show up and you got the rest of the sessions. Then on Friday, you could always come back and watch the video of this session or the late night session that we have for the West Coast folks, and you can go and participate in those activities as well.
Now, do we get to like interact with each other? Because I'm sure like everybody else got different experience and different things and stuff. So will we be able to get insight to each other anytime during this next 6 weeks?
I think you're
Because
doing it right now, Marquisha. I
well,
love it. Bring your
no,
voice into this
I
space.
wanna break through and hear what everybody else break through is, because sometimes you break through and then you break down, then you get back up and
Yes.
get through, and then
Yes.
so I wanna
What
stay through and
I love it. What a great way to set the tone. Yes, I invite your voice and your ahas. Drop them into the chat. I can see that Jennifer wants her business to reflect the happiness of others. You found them a home or sold a home, made a difference to attract others to use your services, get them to their dream. I love that so much. And keep sharing. Marquisha, share your ahas. We're going to have moments where we invite that in. We will have sessions across this series where there will likely be breakout rooms where you'll have a chance to interact with each other. We're going to have a number of you are going to volunteer this evening, even, and do some role play, some conversation practice right here live. I encourage you to be vulnerable, participate at a high level. What you put into this is what you'll get out of it. So thank you for asking. And I think the answer is yes to all of that. Brittany, I see your microphone. You have something to share? No, probably an accidental unmute. That's okay. Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to bring it back on. All right. Anybody else? What do you want your life and business to look like a year from now? Okay. So here's the deal, folks. This is an opportunity to stake a claim for what you want. But you got to know what you want first. There is an impossible goal that is in your mind. There is something that you've never done before. There is something that you think that everyone around you thinks is impossible. And I'm going to work through this mental process for just a moment. Then I want you to take a stand for yourself. That impossible thing that nobody in your world has ever achieved, the thing that you think is out of reach, like closing a transaction within the next month, or closing 30 transactions within the next year, or becoming a millionaire real estate agent within the next 2 years. You may not understand what that path, what that process is to get from where you are to where you're going. Keisha, I'll come right to you in a moment. But take a stand for yourself. That impossible thing, ask. Give yourself the permission. What if it were possible? What if? What would need to exist that it would be possible? And just kind of jot those things down. Like if I were to want to fly, that's an impossible thing. I cannot literally fly. But what would it look like? What would need to be true? Well, I could have a jetpack. I could have a plane. I could buy a plane ticket. Okay. Well, I can't literally do that right now, but then, okay, but then I could figure out, okay, a plane ticket to this place would cost me this much. There are people that are making hydrogen powered jetpacks. That's basically water becomes jet fuel on your back. Pretty cool. Okay, so I can figure out where to get that, how much it costs. Now, it doesn't mean I can afford it, but I could build a plan to afford it. I could go see what it looks like. I could test something out. So I've taken it from impossible to a possible thing. When I figure out what those things are and I document all of those things, it becomes a probable thing because now all I've got to do is go and do those. And now when I take those items and I put them on my schedule, it becomes a given outcome. So whatever that big goal is in your future, the lifestyle that you haven't lived yet that you're pushing toward, get really clear on what that looks like, what needs to be done to get there, and then go put those things on your calendar because then by naturally as you go about your day, you are creating the impossible outcome for yourself. Keisha, what do you want?
Hey Seth, thank you. So just reflecting back on the question that you have up on the screen there, I think that the simplicity answer for me is that I want to be able to obviously grow my brand and grow my business. When I look at long term for me, I'm still in between. I'm not as confident as I would like to be to step away from my full time job. So with the real estate, I know that that's my passion and that's where I want to be. But I think like symposiums like this, being around my peers, being around people that are like minded, it does help me get into that space of like, I don't have to know everything. And when I think of long term, I'm getting into that second part of my life. So in a year from now, I would like to be successful to the point where I could actually get like my mother, she's getting a little older, she's across the country. I want to be able to confidently bring her to North Carolina to be around me, to be around family, and just make sure that the rest of her lifespan is spent around family. So I love when we have the opportunity to get into symposiums like this, because you come into them thinking that like, oh my God, I'm gonna be the low man on the totem pole. I don't know everything. I've never had my first transaction, but my goal is to get there and to have that vulnerability and share that experience with in a forum like this. It makes me more comfortable, and it automatically kind of gets me a little bit more confident because I can say it. So, where out of 200 people, I can sit back in the background and not have that conversation and let everybody think like, oh, I'm the bee's knees. I know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing at all. So, so it's nice to be around like-minded people. And when classes like this are offered, like I do really try in between my full-time gig to really try to immerse myself in it and get as much as I can with the conversation part.
That's so good. So good. Thank you for sharing all of that. Somebody else was they needed to hear that you're looking forward to a transition, not just for what it does for you, but such that you can get to that next level where you get to do something really significant for somebody else. Money is good for the good it can do. And for us, it might be to create a lifestyle for us, but for many of us, it's to create that lifestyle so that we can provide a lifestyle to somebody else. Like if it's only about me, I don't have the willpower to build a big life if it's only for me. But I've got four daughters that are counting on me to build a big life that they can be inspired by too. Like if it were just up to me, I'd probably sit on the beach and surf and play the guitar. Like that sounds just fine. And yet none of my family wants to be sitting around with me doing that same thing. So let me go build a big life where I can earn the right to go surf and play the guitar as much as I'd like. Does that make sense? I can either lead with that or I can end up there. If I end up there, I could build something huge that has created everybody else's dreams in the mix as well. That is so cool. Here's what I'm going to encourage you though, Kisha. Identify exactly what that looks like. If you want to make that transition, and we don't have to talk about what those numbers are, but put that number down. What does that number look like? How much do you need to see in your pipeline over the next 90 days in order to make the transition away? A lot of us are looking for, well, I made this much in the past year, but let me tell you, what you made last year has no relevance in what you're going to make in the next year. Because what you did to get to this point, you might choose to do something different and you get different results. That could mean something bigger. It can mean something lesser. So I'm going to encourage you to look forward 90 days or 120 days out. How much business can you see in your pipeline? Do you have enough in the bank for reserves, for just in case fund? And then can you see the pipeline in the future such that you're going to naturally encounter the money that you need to survive? And then over the next 90, 120 days, you get to work on the next 90 to 120 days instead of trying to make money show up for right now. So that's the way that businesses are built. And get really clear with it. If you want your mom to come to North Carolina, what's that cost? Like, are you buying a home? Are you building a casita, like an accessory dwelling unit on your own property? How much does it cost to move her across the country? Are there living expenses that you want to fund or that she'll have to need for savings? Like, get really clear. If it's a money number for a lot of y'all, get clear on what that is and go build toward it. Because if you can get that number in mind, you can build a business that creates that. But we got to have clarity around what that is first. Jennifer, and then somebody else had their hand up. I'm happy to come back around to you, but go ahead, Jennifer.
I literally got my license and joined last week. I
Well,
came
welcome.
here.
Congratulations on becoming a real estate agent.
Thank you. I haven't celebrated yet because I'm onboarding, and that by far is. I don't know how many times I'm like, what did I do? You think you did great when you passed the test and you're all ready to go and you're so ready to do real estate. And when I stopped and was doing onboarding and looking and just connecting, I realized that I'm not ready to do anything until I have the proper training and stories from people here. And without me committing to do this, I don't think I can. I'm not in a position to be able to go to a buyer and seller without courses like this that are going to shape my habits and get me to the place that I want to take my business with myself and my brand and figuring that out in between all of the training that has to become customary in my life to be successful.
I hear you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Can I work with you on something real quick and help you reframe a thought process there? Um, you have all the capability you need to go develop relationships with buyers and sellers. In order to serve them at a high level and bring them all the way to completion, there are absolutely things you need to learn, to implement, to build, to practice. But to start, you have everything you need right now. And you've been
I
thinking
just
about
want to
it
be
for a
the
long
best for
time.
somebody.
I
I just
love
want to
it.
be the best. And without you guys or anyone here, I can't be the level that I think I should be giving my clients.
I hear you. Yep. And that's such a great passion to want to show up as your very best. Do you have a mentor?
I do. I'm working with quite a few people that I'm pulling and trying to get things done. And this was thrown at me on Saturday and then given to me. And I go, I have to get in. I have to go.
So you're in the right place. On Tuesday, tonight, and Wednesday, tomorrow night, let's work together, right? I get to be your mentor and showing you, let's talk about database, building a container for all the relationships you've developed. I want you to
Thank
walk
you.
away from today like fired up to go nurture those relationships because that's the number one most important thing you can do to find business. The best way you're going to learn is to have a reason specifically to learn. Because to know everything, like I'm still learning. I've been doing this 10 years on the sales side, and it was 4 years prior to that on the appraisal side. I am highly trained and I am still learning very
And I
much.
want to. When
Yeah.
it gets boring and when you stop learning, it's over. I don't want to ever do
Oh
that.
man. Yeah, I'll be ready to die when I'm done learning.
That's right. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. I'm so glad. Hey, listen, folks, for anybody here feeling like this, please, I implore you, go make a mess and then pull on your mentor to help you clean it up. And when I say make a mess, don't go break everything, but go find an encounter that you don't feel you're prepared for. Go book an appointment with a seller or a buyer and think, oh no, I'm not ready. That's the exact right moment where you're going to get ready. You're going to figure it out. You have someone in your life. I know you do. And if you can't find them, call me. That's why I share my phone number. And I say it in seriousness because it may not come up again in this session. So I'm going to drop it in the chat. I text me, call me. If I can help you in some way, let me know because I know mentors in all of the markets that you are all in. We have people that can help. Go book a listing appointment, call me or that person and say, I'm not ready. I did something I fear is bad. A seller is counting on me and I'm not prepared for it. Hey, that's a great problem to have. And I promise you, we will clean it up together. And that's good. That's how we build a big life. Somebody is terrified at the idea right now. And this is the breakthrough. Like maybe there is a mindset of limitations that you have over yourself right now. And maybe that's exactly what you needed to hear tonight is to shake that off and go press forward. Think big, folks. Michelle.
Uh, Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say I just want to get into real estate full time.
Love it.
I currently can retire in October. I've been in real estate for quite a while. And the biggest thing is I don't want to miss the opportunities to get in some of the rooms that they get in because I'm working my other job. And I said
Mm,
I can't do that anymore because I'm missing out on even because a lot of things they do, some of them on Zoom, but a lot of stuff is you have to be in the rooms to get the opportunity. So I don't want to miss that again. So that is my
okay.
main focus to get full time and retire and just be in the rooms that I need to be in, like go to family union and stuff like that.
Oh
So
yeah.
that I've never been and take bold and
Yep.
do things like that. So I encourage everyone, you got to get in those rooms. So if we can, like, make this full time, you're missing out on a lot when you're not able to get in those rooms. I tell
Yeah,
people that.
Michelle, I gotta agree with you, and I want to give you some hope. Also, I talked to a friend on his way out of the building today, Troy Olson. This guy, I saw evidence that um, dual career agents can win at a really, really, really big level. So many of us think of it as part-time real estate. I want you to think of it instead as dual career because your clients expect your value that they're seeking with your real estate business to be available 24/7. Now, I'm full-time in real estate, and yet the value is still like I'm not available 24/7. Another way to look at it, I'm full-time in real estate, but I really have dual career because I run a sales team We dominate our neighborhood. We got a neighborhood of 2,000 homes. So we sell over a third of all the homes sold there. And yet I spend my 9 to 5 and my full time and the nights and weekends helping agents to grow their business. Right? Here's what I've learned. This is what Troy taught me. This guy worked for a massive corporation for 10 years, held his real estate license. And for 8 of those 10 years, as dual career, he sold over 100 homes a year. He looked at 2 things. How do I make my values available always? So he built resources. He partnered with agents that were available so they could go service clients, so that his website and his buyer guides and seller guides, all that stuff was taken care of. Number 2, he because his full-time job was why he wasn't always available for real estate, he said, well, I've got to make that feed my real estate business. And so every conversation he had in his workplace became about real estate as well. He found people moving all across the country. It fueled his real estate business. What the time he spent away, he used all of that time as lead generation. And so for any of you, thank you, Michelle, saying that so much. For any of you looking to make that dual career transition to full-time real estate, to retire yourself from a job working for somebody else, it's how you do it. Seek every opportunity with every conversation you have as a chance to find new buyers and sellers. Ask yourself, who can I serve today? And when you're constantly looking for someone to serve, you find yourself asking questions about them and their life that naturally lead to indications that they're likely to move. And when you show high levels of interest in other people, they ask about you. Just be prepared to respond with something real estate related. I'm so excited. It's the spring selling market. All these new homes on the market. Our buyers and sellers, whatever it is, prepare yourself. No stats. I see some really good stuff in the chat box. I just love it. Thank you so much for sharing all of these things, what you want to be a top realtor, to reinvent yourself, transition from dual career. I'm going to return to one last thing, because here's the deal. It becomes real. It becomes a vision when you can literally see it in your mind. So figure out exactly what that looks like. And I mean, be able to write it down on a piece of paper where if somebody else read it, they see what you see. They can see the numbers. They can see the colors of the house that you want to buy. Or like, I don't know. I know somebody who really wants a Lamborghini. They want a purple Lamborghini. And they will not stop. They got a lot of other stuff to take care of in real estate and in their life because they want to house some other people. But they know they made it when they took care of all of those things and they had a stupid amount of money to go spend on a purple Lamborghini. That's a vision. Like, they know they took care of family first, and then they were able to make so much that they did this as well. Go get a really clear vision like that. And I don't mean to be only materialistic. Just be clear about what that does. What's that do for you? What's that do for your family? Here's where we get practical. When I say it's a vision, I mean literally. So I want you to practice with me. My youngest 2 daughters were born with hearing loss, so we do a little bit of sign language in our household, and I'm not very good. In fact, most of what I sign with my daughters is total gibberish, but like, we get it. Like, half of the signs I use are made up, but we understand each other. But here, I want to teach you something. I want to teach you how to do these numbers only in sign language. And my hope is that you memorize these things, because you're going to see them, you're going to act them out, and they're going to become part of you. Okay. So here's your goal. Your goal is to have 10. Everybody put your thumb up and kind of wiggle it like this. 10 real estate conversations, 5 days a week. Now, when you do numbers under 5 that's normally facing you, you could do it this way. It's okay. I do it like this when I can remember, but half the time I do it like this. Like I said, half of my sign language is gibberish anyway. So 10 real estate conversations, 5 days a week for 100. So you put a 1 up and you bring it down to a fist, 120 days. So you kind of go across 120 days. So 10 real estate conversations, 5 days a week for 120 days. Let's do it together. Here we go. 10 real estate conversations, 5 days a week for 120 days. I want that to burn into your mind. Build a plan for it. I don't know if those 5 days a week are Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Maybe you don't have all week long to spend, and so you spend 3 days a week only on Saturday, and you go have 30 conversations. That might be what's right for you. For me, I want to earn my weekends to do whatever I please. Saturday, I normally end up working. I'm totally okay with that. But I don't want to have to work if I don't have to work. I choose to work on Saturdays when I do. Sunday, I'd really like to defend that time. I want to be on the lake. I want to be with my family. I want to go to church. Like I want to spend some time doing what I choose to do. I really like to take a half day on Thursday. And I have a block on my calendar that literally says fun time. Well, if I don't have my stuff done as of Thursday at 1 p.m., I don't spend that time doing fun things because I got things to catch up on. So the idea is to block your calendar so you can have at least 10 conversations 5 days a week for 120 days. The reason it's 120 days straight is because we're building a long-term cadence of success. We're building a series of wins. What you do this week is great, but it's when you follow through next week and the next week and the next week that you have a chance to convert. Any given person you speak with has maybe like a 1% or less chance. But if you follow up with that 1%, it becomes 6% pretty quickly. And then if you continue following up with that 6% conversion rate, those people will refer you to other people and they will do business with you again. And so you bring 6 into 12 and it builds from there. But this is where gains build upon gains, build upon gains. You got to put forth the effort long term. Just like I don't earn a job and get to stay in a job working for somebody else if I show up like a rock star one week and then I call out sick the next week. I earn development opportunities when I show up week after week after week after week. You build trust with people when you show consistency. So this is what we'll be talking about. You'll have a plan for it. But look, if you get nothing else out of it and you simply do this, I assure you, you will build more business than you have been. Now, for those of you who are already generating 9 clients in 120 days, there's probably something greater. I would look at how do I get more effective? What kind of skills do I develop? Can I make this 20 conversations? For some of you, you've been doing it, but it just hadn't been consistent. This is what it will look like. Part 1 is the foundation. Database is this week. Lead follow-up appointments, open houses, social media. And then part 2 is all those things. Here's what I'll say. This series, Breakthrough Primetime, this after hours series is not going to have the part 2. That's something you got to build. So Jennifer, I think it was when I asked you earlier, do you have a mentor? Turn to them. Turn to your market center leadership or whoever you have in your world and ask them how they can help you build your part 2. Many of you have offices where this is already going to be built out. You'll have this regular cadence where you can get involved. Like we've had 5 days a week, some of these elements at Dallas Preston Road. And then we've had 4 days a week, a couple more of these elements. It's only been on Tuesday have we had the full stack. We're going to be expanding this to other things. Now, this is what top agents do anyway. This is what growing agents do. This may be something you have to build for yourself, but if you need help and you don't know how, again, this is the thing you can reach out to me, your market center leadership. It's the practice that makes these things happen. It's the practice that is the 10, 5, 120. Success leaves clues. This comes straight out of The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. You're going to see 2 books referenced in a lot of these materials. It is this one, the MREA, and it is this one, the Rookie Real Estate Agent. I will say, if you're working on the foundational models that are shared in Breakthrough, this is probably the book that you should be obsessing over right now. I will read this book at least 4 times this year. I've read it cover to cover twice. I am rereading it again right now. I am learning things, and I've been in the business for a while. We've got quite a successful team. This is foundational elements. This is not for new real estate agents only. These are the great things that rookies implement. These are the things, if you got to restart or if you missed this as a rookie, these are the things you can come back to and build foundational success on. This is one of those do not pass go, do not collect $200 until you do these kinds of things. The only time that we care about a rookie career is when it led to a great career. So the way that this book was built was we looked to our millionaire real estate agents and said, how did you start a great business such that you could achieve these results? Because this tells us, the millionaire real estate agent tells us what great businesses look like at scale and how we might step by step get our way there. But this is the foundational piece. So go use these systems. Big models, big rewards. If you set small goals, you will end up with small rewards. I hear it all the time. Well, what's a realistic goal to set for the first year? Because I don't want to be disappointed in myself. I don't know. But I can tell you that if you think it's realistic to put a small goal, then it's going to be very realistic to get small results. And if you set a really big goal, it could be very realistic to get really big results. The disconnect typically is the level of activity, the actions that people take. So they see the model, they can see how it works. The question is, do you show up and do you do the work? Do you do your part? So often we blame the plan or the market or another agent or our clients or whatever else. It requires accountability. But even before we get to actions, because how can I possibly set the right actions in my path if I don't have a big model? So go set a big model, dream big, and then follow through with it. So once we have an idea for the big model that we're building, this is one of the 6 personal perspectives. It's the 80-20 principle or the Pareto principle. This comes from another great, it's right here. It is normally right here. It's the one thing. Oh, because it's down here. Such a great book. The one thing, another one written by Gary Keller. There are a lot of great things in here. Gary is not the only one that writes about the Pareto principle. In fact, Malcolm Gladwell, who I read, Rory Vaden, who is up on the screen here, Darren Hardy, the editor of Success Magazine, all of these guys, and I could go on, they all write about this 80-20 principle. And it is a mathematical principle, and it goes through all of history, and it shows up this is one of the threads of truth that shows up all over the place. 20% of inputs create 80% of outputs. 20% of the things you do create 80% of the results that you receive. 20% of the agents sell 80% of the homes. 20% of the people in the US hold 80% of the wealth. It's actually more exaggerated than that. And that's what we find. 80-20 is a great place to start. There are those that identify this and they take it to the extreme. In fact, this is not a political statement, okay? So I know this may be polarizing as I say this, but I want you to hear the truth that I'm saying behind it. The reason why the wealth gap is so massive is that the wealthy have found ways to exploit exactly this. So we can blame government tax system, we can talk about good or bad. If we removed all the good or bad and we removed all the blame and we looked at it just for how it happened, it's because there are very few people that understand this principle and use it to exaggerate their results. You could do the exact same thing. When you look at a big model, 4 out of the 5 things that you need to do today to fill in that big model and build your big outcomes, 4 out of the 5 things don't have that much impact. Like they still need to get done at some point, whether it's by you or it's by somebody else. They've got to happen. The problem is so often we're like, oh, these are the easy things, and so I'm going to go mark the boxes on this. And we ignore the uncomfortable 20% that is actually what's going to create all the big results. So what I'm asking you to do is focus on those few things that have the outsized impact. Do them first. Do them no matter what. Do them until you get results. And really, if you do the most important things, you can generate income that pays for somebody else to do the less important things, or purchases technology to automate those things. Or you've moved so far forward that the things you thought mattered don't matter anymore because you advanced in these other ways instead. So the question you ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do right now, such by doing makes everything else easier or unnecessary? So if you do the big efforts, like time spent away from family, I work a lot of hours and I work really hard at what I do. And I do it in such a way that I can spend as much time as I really want with my family. And I love it. Like my family's all in. Our girls will go pick up yard signs with us. My wife and I work together. Like our kids will come and stop by at open houses that we hold because we hold them in the same community because we want to be in and of our neighborhood. We want our family to be all wrapped up in it. If I got to be taking phone calls on a Sunday anyway, I might as well be doing it sitting on the boat with the family. So find ways that you can integrate all of these things, do the things that matter most, such that you can do all the other things that you want to do. When we simply do all the things we want to do before doing the things that matter most, we find ourselves having less time to do the things that we want to do. So the inverse also works. So we're going to talk about your database. This is by far the most leveraged activity. The number one thing that if you focus on this creates outsized results, it is your database. 4 out of 5, it's funny because this is 80-20 principle, all showing up all over again. 4 out of 5 real estate transactions for agents in their first 2 years are transacted with people they already knew when they came into the business. The number is actually a little bit higher by percentage. I like to round it down 4 out of 5 because it's simple to think. So if you sell 10 homes this coming year, or if you sell 10 homes, then that means that 8 out of 10 are likely to be people you already knew before you were licensed. That's why we start here. But we get this, we have this resistance to plug in to do, because in most of our households growing up, it was a bad thing to talk about money or business or religion or any of that stuff at dinner table with friends, with like extended family, all that stuff, because they're the things that cause people to have disagreements. Like, thank you all for staying on. I literally watched people drop off the Zoom meeting when I was talking about the wealth gap in the US because somebody was like, oh, this is a hot take. I don't want to hear his point on it. And they left. I love you. You're my people. You stuck around because you heard this is about something different. I could not possibly be any less political. Okay. I just want to look at the nature behind humans and like, how can I learn from other people how I can live a big life for myself in my community, with my family, with what we're doing, and inspire others to do really great things. The people that we know already are the people that we need to have uncomfortable conversations with. And I don't mean sometimes that means challenging conversations, speaking truth into them, but then other times that just simply means this is something I'm uncomfortable talking to anybody about. So let me go talk to somebody I know, already likes me, trusts me, knows me, because that's a safe conversation. And if I'm ever going to have an uncomfortable conversation, let me start there. I'll realize that I did not lose a friend or a family member over it. I'll realize I did not die. I did not have a crippling panic attack as we were having that conversation. And if I can have it once, now I've got evidence that I can do it again. Confidence, we mistake to come from experience. Like if I can just go get some experience, then I'll have the confidence to go do it more. So let me go get some experience. But this is like a chicken or the egg concept. It's really pretty broken. Like how do I get experience if I don't step into it first? So let me just go step out first. But also it's super broken in this concept. Have you ever had a bad experience that destroyed your confidence? So if a bad experience can demolish my confidence, then experience cannot be the thing that creates confidence. I believe instead it's that evidence that we are who we say we are, that we can do the things that we say we can do. That evidence creates confidence. And sometimes all we need is the evidence in a practice space. Like I need to go have the conversation with myself in the mirror to see that I've said those words and I don't hate myself for saying it. So I know somebody else is not going to dislike me for saying those things as well. Sometimes it's like if for those of you who are kind of like less outgoing people, maybe it is a matter of showing up to any place and simply saying hello to somebody. If you don't feel you're naturally somebody that makes friends and is outgoing, then maybe simply saying hi to somebody you don't know, introducing yourself, it doesn't have to be a full conversation. Saying hello, smiling at somebody you don't know, that can change your outlook. Because if I smiled at that person, if I introduced myself to that person, if I said hello to a complete stranger, well, I can certainly do more of that. I've seen evidence. I am that person that can do outgoing things. So fear is real. And You'll encounter people in real estate classes and in entrepreneurship classes and all sorts of things. You're going to read it in books. Somebody's going to tell you this exact thing. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And I'm here to tell you fear is not false. It is very real. It doesn't mean it's justified, but it's very real. And when we say it's not real, we ignore the power that fear has over us. When we address it as a real thing, we realize it doesn't need to have power over us. But if I act like it's fake, I never have a chance to reclaim my situation and to shift my mindset. So fear is a natural response. There are rational fears, which is what our bodies are built to use to protect us. Like in ancient times, if I'm a caveman and it's raining outside, I should not go outside because I don't know what's I'm going to sit here. I'm going to protect myself. If there is a big bear that's walking through, I have a very rational fear I should get away from that bear. Now, that's not ancient times. Like me as a 7-year-old kid, we moved to the mountains in California, and the very next morning, our first morning in our new house, there was a bear just loud as can be about 30 yards behind our house. Like a big old black bear. Came back one day and was pawing at our doors. There are real reasons that we have fear. I get it. Most of our fears are irrational because most of our world is very safe. We've built it to be such. We have eliminated most threats. My wife and daughters, well, 3 of the 4 are terrified of spiders. In Texas, we got a lot of spiders. A lot of spiders. And there are 2 species that are harmful to humans. All the rest, nah. Most of them can't even bite. Even if they attempted to bite, their fangs they cannot puncture the skin. Like, they're harmless. Nearly every spider you see is harmless. And so it's this irrational fear they have. They see it and they think the spider's somehow going to jump. The dangerous ones, can I tell you, don't jump at people. There are jumping spiders, and jumping spiders are like furry little pets if you treat them as such. Totally harmless. It's an irrational fear. The problem is if we don't address that, it's a real fear no matter what. So fear is real regardless. Irrational fear is something bad happening when you have either no probability or small. But the problem is we can't address it as an irrational fear. We can't separate ourselves from it if we don't identify it as such. So the best way to not be fearful of spiders would be to learn about which ones are the dangerous ones and stay away from those. I caught a lot of snakes when I was a kid. I do not like dangerous snakes. But the best way for me to learn what is a dangerous snake and what is not a dangerous snake is to study them, to address. And then when I see one, instead of trying to ignore it, because if I ignore it because I'm terrified of it, there's a chance that it has a devastating end. But if I can look at it, pay attention to it, understand it for what it is, I can see, okay, that is a real fear or that is not. As long as we keep something and we don't address it as a real fear, it becomes part of us. So your first step to separate yourself from that is to identify it, address it, and see it as something that has influence over you, because then it's separated. And then is that something that truly proves a threat? Or is that something that's an irrational fear? Just by identifying it as an irrational fear doesn't make it not truly a fear anymore. But at least I've got a chance to step away and remove it from myself. No longer is it me. It's that thing. So we're going to categorize some fears. If you got your workbook, you have a chance to, so we skipped a spot, but let's do this real quick before we break these apart into 2. And let's talk about some of the fears that you have about real estate. Like, it's not spiders and bears and snakes anymore, okay? But this is about engaging with other people. This is about building a business. What are some of the things? Inspections. Marquisha, what about inspections are you fearful of?
Just basically, I guess like going over what's on paper and what I see, pretty much the deadlines for like maybe if something, it's not, in the contract or something like that. But that's pretty
Hmm.
much.
Got it. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, not being knowledgeable enough, not knowing the answers. I see a lot of these. The fear of perfection, Mabel says. The fear of any answer, the fear of rejection. That's a really common one. The fear
And
of
another
mark.
one too about like the materials, like I don't really know a lot of, these materials that the houses are made of. So
Uh-huh.
that's
Okay.
a big thing.
Yeah. Buyers obtaining debt while buying a home, sounding inadequate, not being successful, not knowing the best course of action to take. Here's what's really interesting. And if you go on page 25, you have a chance to categorize your fears. And if you're working through the workbook, I encourage you to take some of these and some of the ones you've been thinking about and then drop them on one side or the other. Are they rational fears or are they irrational fears? If you have control over it, I would suggest that it's an irrational fear. Because here's why. If you know that it's true and that right now it scares you, well, then if you have control, good, then go do something about it. Like, for instance, I not being successful. I think that's a real fear. And it's a rational fear if I feel like I have no control over it. But when I understand that if I simply build a schedule to do the things that create an outcome, now it no longer is a rational fear, it's an irrational fear. I've separated it from myself. Okay. It was rational when I was helpless, but now that I see the plan that I have, I got to believe if I just work through the plan, that I will create the kinds of outcomes that I want because plenty of other people have done it before me. And so I might still feel fearful of it, but now I can address it and say, actually, that doesn't need to control me anymore because the thing that I'm going to do to address it is the thing that is going to eliminate it entirely. The finance end is scary, numbers overwhelm. Yeah. Coming across not knowledgeable, litigation. Yep. Now, I do think litigation, that's a very rational fear. I can prepare for that though. And the risk is never gone, but it's something that I build into my business. I do things on purpose and I document what I do and I just keep going about it. It's always going to be there, but I'm always going to protect against it. I partner with a great broker who has great attorneys should anything ever go sideways and such. And I will give the attorneys the very best case to defend me, such that they have my systems. And I can say, look, here's what I've documented. Now you go to court. I don't ever want to defend myself. I want attorneys to do it for me, which means I got to give them a really good story to tell. So this is not about feeling bad or silly about these things. But if there is something that is holding you back, ask yourself, can you do something about it? Because if you can do something about it, that is an irrational fear that doesn't need to control you. You can separate it from yourself. Again, irrational does not mean silly. That is still a real fear. But the more you prepare yourself for it, the more that fear diminishes, you separate and you move past it. The best way that we can overcome fears is with action. Sometimes it's moving, sometimes it's realizing that it's actually not a problem and we move right through it. And when my daughters come to my wife is military trained, so she thinks differently. Like I feel my brain is broken with some of the things that she says because it's so logical. Like my girls will come in, my youngest one, she'll run into a brick wall, and most kids are like, I shouldn't do that. And my youngest daughter, Caitlin, is like, well, I should run at it harder next time if I ever want to get through. Like I don't know, that's my daughter. Uh, but they'll fall and they'll come in, or they'll be disappointed, they'll be crying, and my wife says, "Yeah, but did you die?" And she says it lovingly, but they didn't, and they get a little chuckle out of it. And it's really like this idea that it might hurt sometimes, but that becomes part of character building. Fear and excitement are similar. Yeah, actually, it's the same chemicals. It's the same chemical response in our brain. Fear and anxiety and anticipation, is it's the same thing. It's typically a surge of adrenaline. And if we don't control it, it controls us, but it's also a performance chemical. So fear of not knowing enough to run a successful real estate business. We saw a lot of you doing this. Remember that every real estate agent started at the beginning. Being learning based and ask questions. You're doing it right now. So if that's something that you're struggling with, know that you're already doing the things to move through it. Fear of talking to people. The best way to get to know somebody where it's not a strange conversation anymore is to have a conversation with a stranger in the first place. That's how we build friends. If you want to keep friends, call them regularly. Also, practice. Focus on high impact activities, lead generate, give yourself the mother of creation, or sorry, the necessity is the mother of invention. So if you want to learn to do something really well, give yourself a reason to go do it. Go book a listing appointment, and the next couple of days, you'll be prepared for it. By the way, I keep inviting you to contact me if you need something. If you book a listing because of the advice that I'm giving you, I have a 3-step listing appointment that you can go hold this evening if somebody really wanted you to. You could be prepared for it in about 10 minutes. I would encourage you to practice the conversation that I would recommend, but I do believe that anybody can go and do it. The question is, do you choose avoidance or confrontation? Are you going to avoid that fear and let it keep controlling you, or are you going to confront it so you can move through it? All right. Lead generation model. So we spend a lot of time on mindset to start this session. Every one of these weeks, this concept is broken into 2 sessions. And then on Thursday, you'll have a technology piece where you can go and implement some of the things that you've learned. So each Tuesday, you're going to hear a lot about mindset that positions you to go and do something about what you learn with the rest of it. So the rest of our session here this evening, we'll be talking about building the database. So we're going to cover the lead generation model, talk about why we care about knowing these principles, these concepts. And then tomorrow is about really how you put it into action. Today, there is action for you. In fact, a really important action. Tomorrow's action doesn't really matter unless you take the action today. So stick with me till the end. The lead generation model works like this. Prospecting and marketing are the 2 kinds of lead generation. Either I spend my time and effort finding people and bringing them in, or I spend my money and influence. For instance, okay, show of hands, raise your hand, give me a thumbs up, drop it in the chat box. If you're on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or something. Okay, I've got my hand up. I'm going to drop it again because I decided a week ago that I was going to build. I've had Facebook following for quite a while. In a 6-week period of time, I went from having like basically nobody on TikTok to having 1,400 followers. If that can happen in 6 weeks on TikTok, I could probably do it on Instagram pretty quickly. So I just want to be at 1,000 so I can do live videos. So if y'all care to follow me, I'll be at 1,000 probably by tonight, maybe by tomorrow, and we'll do some live videos. If you want people to follow you, drop your @ tag, your handle in the chat. And some of y'all want to be connected with each other across the country such that you could generate some referral opportunities. Gotta find a way to lower my hand. Okay, so when you are spending time posting on social media, that is marketing. You are using your influence. Now, make no mistake, you're using you're using capital. Like your social media presence is worth something to the social media platforms. They sell a lot of ad space based upon that. So you may not be paying the ads, but when you post stuff for everybody to see, it attracts other people back to the platform. And Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn, they all sell ads based upon your organic posting. Okay. So you're you're buying influence with either money or you're attracting leads with either money or influence when you're posting out on social media. This is the same if you send mailers to your neighborhood. This is the same if you put up a flyer on a window and say, contact me for this. If you run ads in Google, Or there's a lot of different ways. Like if you put up a billboard, now nobody go out and run and do that because that's probably the most expensive way that you could possibly generate leads. It works really well when you have everything else going for you, but nobody starts with billboards that finds long-term success. But marketing is passive. There is nothing that I'm going to actively do that creates a conversation, that creates an opportunity to serve, that creates an appointment, that creates a client, that creates a transaction, that creates a closing, that creates income. It is totally passive. It is like a hook in the water. Prospecting is very different. Prospecting is actively working. Now we could take this with fishing. I'm going to draw this fishing analogy real quickly because some people just want to tune out when I talk about fishing. But I want, like, there is fly fishing and I'm in a river and I'm throwing this. I don't know how to do this well. It's a very active thing. It takes skill. And you got to get that little lure right over the fish and eventually it pops and you grab it. And it's all because of the effort that you spent. It's a lot of activity, but when you get it, you know that it was your activity that made it happen. And there's something every moment that you can do to make that happen. Okay. Marketing might be like putting something in the water with bait on it. And I'm waiting for if it, I can't do anything to make, I can't see it. I can't see what fish are really around it. I don't know when they're going to come by. In fact, like in Texas, if I want to fish for crappie, I might drop 13 different baits in hopes that one of the fish comes by and snags one of them. It is passive. I am waiting and I'm watching for it to hit, but there's nothing that I actively did to make it happen aside from pick the right spot. That's the difference between prospecting and marketing. Marketing is great for long term, prospecting is great for right now. And so in the MREA, and actually they cover this in Rookie too, but in the MREA, it talks about starting with a prospecting based, marketing enhanced business. Be prospecting based, go out and find people to be in business with, and then use marketing to enhance it. It might look like this. I have all the people on my phone. I can go and call them and spark conversation and nurture those relationships. And then I'm going to put my content out on social media because the conversations I have with people, then when they see me on social media, they remember that one-to-one conversation I had with them. And then there's all the people in my world that they've been seeing my stuff on social media. And then when I call them personally, they're like, oh my goodness, Cass called me. She's like a really big deal. I normally only see her stuff on socials, but like we get to have a one-on, and they may not say this, but they feel special. Now, so often we feel like we're bothering them, but for so many people, we are blessing them because they feel interested in, they feel like they're interesting. They feel so blessed to have somebody interested in them. And I want to bust through a fear real quick because this is we call these limiting beliefs. I believe this thing to be true and it will always be true unless I challenge it and remove it. Here's what we believe sometimes. We believe that we're bothering people when we call them. Or even worse, we think that, man, that person that I haven't talked to in 3 years, ugh, I haven't talked to them in 3 years. It's going to be so weird when I call them because it's been 3 years. Well, guess what? They also did call you. They haven't called you. And maybe they're thinking the same thing. Man, I'd really like to talk to Crystal, but I don't know. We haven't talked in 3 years. And so it's going to be weird. And then Crystal calls me. I'm like, oh my goodness, I was thinking about you today. I'm so sorry I haven't called. Thank you for calling. How are you? Y'all, when you dive into your database and you call the people you've known, you will have conversations exactly like that. You will have people that are so delighted that you thought of them, that you reached out, and then you're going to follow through. You'll get some conversation frameworks today, some things, some conversations you can have with people that are non-intrusive, that are easy to speak with anybody you know or have known in the past. And when you ask about their life, they ask about yours, and you bring up real estate, and the rest becomes history. You don't have to call people and say, hey, I'm brand new in real estate. I'm so excited. Who do you know that's thinking about buying, selling, or investing that I can call today? I'd love to work with people like you. And I'd be a fool to not ask, who do you know that's moving? Can you tell I've practiced saying those things? Because those are elements that's kind of like a medley of different things that I did say early on, and they worked, but there are better ways that we can do it. And the best way to develop relationship is to ask people about them. Be interested in people, and you become interesting to people. My mother came and stayed with our daughters, our younger two, Alyssa and Caitlin, in February when we went, Jocelyn and I, to Atlanta for family reunion. And when we did, uh, it's so awesome. I've got my two of my sisters, or my two sisters are in the neighborhood and they got their kids and everything. So when Nana, my mom, is in town, they have so much fun together. And when they left, Alyssa, who turns 13 in August, did not talk about all the fun they had with everybody else. She talked about how wonderful it was to have Nana there. Now, Alyssa's like pretty cool. So she doesn't normally like glow when she talks about people like this, but she's like, Dad, it's just so awesome because no matter what I want to talk about, Nana is so interested in anything I have to say. Like, I feel like such a special person when I'm with her because, like, I'm her whole world when I'm talking to her. And she was so exhilarated with this. She was so touched. And Nana is her favorite person in the world. Like, I think more than me or mom. She is her favorite person in the world because she is so interested in her when they're together. That favor was built for Nana because Nana had showed crazy attention to Alyssa. That's the way that works with other people. When you ask questions and you get deep into their life, they will want to know about you. They care and they remember about you and the things that you say as well. It's the law of reciprocation. What goes around comes around. Another fundamental truth. Okay, so from all the people you speak with and all the marketing you put out there, there are going to be people that come into your worlds that have some kind of indication that they want to know you. Some want to know you for personal reasons. Some want to know you for romantic reasons. Some want to know you for professional reasons that are your profession. Some want to know you for their professional reasons, for the ways that they make money. But they're all the people that come into our world. Leads are one-way conversation. They're asking me to be in their world, or I'm asking them to be in their world. Somebody that comes through an open house did not come because most of them don't come because it's me. They came because it's the house or because they want to buy a house. So I capture their information and I then follow up with them. I follow up with them so I can capture them into my database so they become a relationship. We call that a contact. Until we have two-way conversation, they are a lead. Lead is one way, contact is two-way conversation. So I turn leads into contacts and then I engage my contacts regularly such that they would produce appointments. Now, there's something missing here, and that's called opportunities. An opportunity is a clear indication that somebody's going to transact, and I focus on that. Those are the things I most regularly follow up on, and opportunities create appointments. I can't create an appointment out of thin air, but I can go have enough conversations. I can find somebody that might be buying or selling, and that gives me somebody to follow up with so I can set an appointment. Come back next week, you'll learn all about follow-up. We bring value to potential clients so we can earn the right to be hired by them. We bring them value. Now, there might be some value that's gated, like you got to hire me before you get access to this. But the way that businesses work is they lead with value to get people engaged, to get them to a decision point. Well, if you want the rest of what is here, you got to sign this, you got to hire me, you got to buy this, you got to sign up, whatever it is. And then the gates open and they get everything else. This whole system is about that point right there. The breaking open of the gates. When people break through that wall, that barrier of value, and they choose to engage your services, all the rest is their story. When someone chooses to hire you, there are conversion rates that are totally on their terms of when they transact. But we do everything we can up to the point that they hire us, and then we just focus on serving them. Everything else is fiduciary. In virtually every state, no matter what real estate laws, no matter how they're written, pretty much everybody at that point is fiduciary. Now, I know there are some broker states like New Mexico operates a little bit differently. maybe by law, but the way that business works is still once they choose to hire you, then it's all about them. So that's why this whole system is built that if you have 10 contacts a day, 5 days a week, you produce in 120 days. Oh, we missed the last part. It's 9 clients. Look at that. Oh, the little hand signs. That's so funny. So it's 9 clients. That's the outcome you're looking for. Any thoughts, questions on this lead generation model? Love seeing all the social handles. Thank you. Rhonda? Okay, no, it's accidental unmute. All good. We'll keep moving. Know this, get to know it. Like this is your business right here, by the way. This is your business. Everything else that you develop for your business is built to serve this. And we can make this more complex and we can add additional things to it, but this drawing right here is your business. This is how you feed everything that is in your real estate business. You prospect and market to bring people into your world. You develop relationships. You nurture those relationships such that you find opportunities, you meet with people, you get hired, and then you serve their needs specifically. Everything that you do is pointed at this model right here. So your database is what we're talking about today and tomorrow. That holds your relationship. This is a container for all of your relationships. So a pipeline holds your business transactions. A database is a container that holds your relationships. Now, I have heard from many people over the years that, man, why would I use technology to record my relationships? If those people really matter to me, then I will remember what's most important. Okay, maybe. And you're not going to have a large enough business to meet your goals. And even if you meet your goals, it's a pretty selfish thing because if you stop with whatever your goals are and you don't get to a level where you can serve other people's needs and build a bigger world and serve other people at a higher level, like all of you have some sort of greater cause that you're doing this for. You may have not found it yet. Many of you understand your big why, and your big why is rooted in someone else. Like maybe it's about you, but it's about what you get to do for somebody. Maybe it's about you, but it's what you prove is not the case, even though all of your historical family, all of your lineage has said that one thing. Well, I'm going to be the one that proves it differently. Well, even then, that might sound like a selfish thing, and I've made it about me, but actually, I'm the one that's changed that generational curse, and now all the rest of the generations don't have that curse. It's still about other people. So if you want to build a business that's large enough to serve those greater needs, it's so important that you have technology that can help you remember the things that you can't naturally. If it really matters to you that much, you're going to find a way to record it. Because to know the name, the phone number, the email address, and the home address of everybody, maybe you have it in your phone, but do you have details about all the times you talked with them? Do you have automated systems to deliver value about their neighborhood, about the market? Like, do you have it tagged in such a way that when you write a newsletter to enrich people with education, that it can automatically send to all these people? Or are you having to go do it manually? Because here's the thing. Maybe you say, okay, I can do it. I'm just going to do it manually. Like I'll go build an email list. That's easy. Okay. Um, Maybe it's easy, but it's very time consuming compared to having a database that contains all of that. And you could find a more efficient way and you care about the people you know. By doing this more efficiently, you can go spend more one-on-one time with people that you know. So technology is great, not because technology is great. Like you and I are both staring at computer screens right now, ironically, but we're not doing it because it's a computer screen. We're doing it because there's a person on the other end. I don't want to use technology systems because I want to play with a computer. I want to use technology systems so that when I step away from the computer, it keeps working and I can go do what I am uniquely suited to do, and that's human stuff. So if I use tech at a high level, I get to do way more human things. So database, that is the people you know. That's the people you met, but you don't really know. That's any contact information that you've captured, that you're working to get to know people. That's your past clients that you've served. That's people that have been referred to you. That's your friends. That's your family. That's everybody. People you used to work with. It's anybody that might buy, sell, or refer real estate business to you. So this last one that might refer real estate business to you is a really big one because if I live in Texas, but I know somebody in Washington State, that person could refer real estate business to me. Also, when that person moves from what I'll use a great example. My cousin Trent moved from Eugene, Oregon to Oklahoma City. And when he was getting ready to move from Eugene, he called me. He's like, Seth, I'm so excited. I'm like, great. Why? He's like, well, I'm moving. I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. And you get to help me sell my house. He was so excited about my real estate journey. He was like, you get to help me sell. You get to list. I'm like, well, I do, but not in the way that you're thinking because I'm not licensed in Oregon. He goes, oh, you got to be licensed? I'm like, well, yeah. But don't worry. Actually, I have somebody really great in your area. Can I connect you with them? He's like, yeah. Now, I had somebody really great. I had no idea who they were. I knew we had a bunch of agents in the area, and I knew that if I did a little bit of research, I could find the one that was absolutely best suited to work with them. And so I made 6 phone calls. 2 people answered immediately. So and one of them was a specialist in his neighborhood specifically. So I had 2 great conversations. I could have referred him to either one. I found that agent that was definitely an expert. They put it on the market. She sold it in 3 days for more than he was asking for it. It was awesome. This was pre-COVID. This was not like the crazy post-COVID market. I got paid on that transaction. He moved to Oklahoma City. I connected with an agent there. I got paid on that transaction. He moved from Oklahoma City to St. Louis. I got paid on that transaction, both of them. He moved from St. Louis back to Tulsa, and I got paid again. So I've earned about 40 grand now on referral fees from him moving around the country. And it all started with, I'm so excited you get to help me sell my home. Like I can, but not in the way that you think. I stayed in contact with him and I told a story. And at every step of the way, he felt like I was there and I was serving him. I was like, when his home was staged and ready for listing photography, he FaceTimed me so I could see it. During his first open house, he FaceTimed me when he was sitting down the street. He was like, look, man. And he turned around. He's like, I'm just sitting watching people walk into my house. I think it's going to sell today. I'm like, all right, man. That's nice. Maybe go a little bit further so they don't know it's you. Because the neighbors would know at least. Anyhow, it was such a cool thing. It deepened the relationship that I had with him. Like, I have a better relationship with him today than when we were young. I thought we were tight when we were young. But now I've shared all these journeys with him. I got paid on it, which is awesome. And it's the highest dollar per hour work. I put in a total of maybe 4 or 5 hours. Y'all, it's probably about $10,000 an hour that I've received for referring him business from place to place. You could do that too, by the way. All the people you know all across the country, they're referral opportunities for you. But you got to build a database to be able to connect people, to be able to receive referrals, because you're going to receive referrals from people that are moving to your area or already live in your area or moving out. And you're going to want to honor those that have been introduced to you and honor the people that were so gracious to hand you referrals. So make sure you stay in touch with them. A database allows you to do that. I want to read you a story from Gary Keller. And this is on page 31 in your handout. I'll read this today. As we go through, some of our instructors may ask you to read some of these segments. I'm going to read this one. I think you get to hear about Jordan Davis tomorrow. It's an agent from our neck of the woods here in DFW. When Gary Keller, founder of Keller Williams, started in real estate, he sold 6 homes his first month. I mean, that's awesome. 6 homes his first month. You think he took a high level of action? By the way, this is not in the story, but he said that when he showed up to his brokerage the first day, uh, he said, "Okay, I'm here to work. What do I do?" He's like, "Well, go call people." And he's like, "Okay, who do I call?" And some smartass at the office tossed him a phone book and said, "I don't know, start here." And Gary took that literally and started calling people on the white pages. White pages is where everybody used to record their phone numbers, by the way, before the do not call registry. And he sold 6 homes. And then somebody told him, "You're crazy. Nobody does that." And so he didn't. And things dried up. The market shifted. 5 months passed without a sale, and he was broke. While he was visiting home, his father questioned if he was even working. And Gary proved it by showing his box of contact cards and notes about each person. Impressed, his father loaned him $500. Gary returned to Austin, he sold a home, and he finished the year as Rookie of the Year. His comeback was not luck. It was his database. Long before CRMs, it's a customer relationship management, CRM. You'll hear client relationship management, but customer relationship management is, and that's a tool that we use to manage the relationships we have with people that might be in business with us. This is a piece of technology that many industries share. Pretty much any sales organization uses a CRM of some kind. And I painfully explain that because somebody here doesn't quite get that. And that's okay because you come from a non-sales background or maybe not in an environment where somebody else ran the CRM and you just showed up and did your job every day. Please understand that virtually every business that is consumer facing uses a CRM. So it's critical that you use one. That's what creates your database. But long before CRMs, Gary used a simple box of index cards. He did not even use a Rolodex, by the way. It was a box of index cards. He tracked every contact, note, and follow up. He worked it daily, and he traded it as his most valuable asset. By the way, he talks about the way he did it. He had them all split up. In the front, they were alphabetical. But then for the follow-ups, he had January through December tabs. And when he would make notes on the index card, and then he would take it and he'd file it in whatever month it was that he needed to follow up with them. And then that month, he flipped to that tab, he pulled out his index cards, and that was his mission. Those were his follow-ups for that month. It was a simple system for him. That little box became the foundation of Keller Williams, now the largest independently owned real estate brokerage in North America. Gary's story proves that a consistently nurtured database will carry you through slow markets, fuel your growth, and build the career you dream of. Gary came in to what until recently was the slowest real estate market in history. It was late 70s, early 80s. Interest rates spiked to like 16, 18%. We're dealing with contemporaries that feel like 6% is bad, although 6% is the historical norm, by the way. So we're right there with it. It's appropriate that we have 6% mortgage rates. That's what most people have gotten over time, more or less. And anyhow, but he followed a system. He did it daily. And that's what created his opportunity. Okay, so grab a pen and paper. This is where the rubber meets the road for you. And you're going to take some notes on your own things. So according to the book, Rookie Real Estate Agent, we look at using U.S. housing research conducted by NAR, it's the National Association of Realtors. We note 2 key home buying stats. First, on average, about 65% of households own their own home. 65% of households own their own home. Second, people tend to buy and sell about every 10 years. So this means about 6 or 7% of all people move any given year. About 6 or 7% of all people have a home to sell. And over 80% of sellers are also buyers. So the conversion rate is actually much higher. It's like probably 10 to 13% for most of you is going to be your potential conversion rate because you've got a mix of buyers and sellers. Sometimes you'll find one person that is both a buyer and a seller in your database. So there's 2 strategies, and we're going to figure out which of those strategies is for you. Your strategy 1 is I have enough people in my database, so I need to love on those people. Strategy two is I don't have yet enough people in my database, so I need to go meet more people. The problem is so many of us think it's the second one. And yet, if we've not organized our relationships and how we love on the people we already know, then we're inviting a whole bunch of new people into a relationship where we never talk to them. So if you know enough people already, start with that, nurture those relationships. And then once you find your systems and how you can do that long term, then you invite new relationships in so they get treated in the same way you're already treating the people you know. Okay, so this is on page 33. I want you to start with, you can open up your phone. Most of you have iPhones. I will never be the person that shames you for having an Android. You're just going to have to figure out the way you do this because it's changed since I had last an Android. But on your contacts app, you can go to the very bottom, scroll all the way down, and when you get to the very, very bottom of your contacts card, you'll see a number. My number says 27,208 contacts. When I connect to a rental car, it throws an error message on the screen that says, sorry, we cannot import all of your contacts. Many of you have a number that's like 150, 400, 800. The 27, that's after many years of doing real estate. And I still have businesses in my phone because this is not my database. And so my phone is cluttered in ways that my database is not. I can see conference call LP. I used to work retail, so that's loss prevention, conference call. Like I have no business having them in my database, but it's in my phone because I'm okay with this being messy. I don't want my database to be messy. Somebody shout out some numbers. What kind of numbers do you have as far as contact? How many contacts you got in your phone? Arsen's got 500. Sarah's got 132. Rose's got 690. Teresa's got 1100, 729, 540. Love it. Cass got 1912. David Klein's got 275. Okay. So this is great because we've got people that are going to discover both things here. So on page 33, or if you're doing this without the workbook, write down that number of contacts on a paper and multiply. You're going to need a calculator app. Multiply by 0.06. Don't worry about the percentage button. We've done the conversion rate for you. So multiply your number of contacts times 0.06. This is the number of people that you already know who are likely to transact in the next year. Start dropping those in the chat box as you've got them. 17, 30, 41, 5, 114. Cass, let me ask you, is 114 transactions enough for you to meet your goals in the next year? You're nodding yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it,
more
does
than
it feel,
enough.
okay, does that feel overwhelming? Like, I already know how do I even harness that, let alone serve 114 people? I'm just now learning this. Somebody feels that way right now. That's okay. Okay, I'm so happy to see this. Erwin and Atia, both, Pat. So here's the problem. Akila as well. I don't know how a third of a person transacts a house. And so you're going to have to make a decision on whether you round up or you round down. And I would encourage you to start with this decision here and then round all your numbers in the sim. I don't mean always round up or round down, but are you going to round generously or conservatively? If you round conservatively, you will build bigger results for your business. If I tell myself, okay, by the math, there's 35.6 transactions likely in my database, how many transactions is that probably? I can round either to 36 or I can round to 35. If I round to 36, I am saying I'm okay if I come up a little short because actually my numbers say it's less, but I want to make it, I'm going to round generously. If I go the other direction and say 35, I am rounding conservatively and I'm saying, look, I know this is going to create a little bit more work than is really needed to meet my goals, but I'm willing to overcommit a little bit to make sure because it's important that I see all the way through. So I don't want you to feel bad for one way or another. I think you can hear the way that I deliver that, the way that I adjust. I round my goals conservatively always. I round my estimates. If I say that I need to have, if I know the numbers, I need 4.7 appointments per month. If I need 4.7 appointments per month, I don't know how to have zero point 0.7 appointments, 7/10 of an appointment. I do know how to have another appointment. So I'm going to round up. I'm going to make sure I have a goal for 5 appointments that month. Because if I say it's 4.7 and I set a goal for 4, I'm going to come up short. But here's the thing. This is why I don't want you to feel bad. If you realize that 36 or 35 is already way beyond what you need, then round generously. Make the numbers make sense. Especially when you look at a number like 36, that math is easy. That's 3 people a month. So sometimes you're going to make whole numbers out of things because it makes sense and you can capture it in your mind more easily. You make the decision for yourself. Okay, so you've got your number of people that are going to transact. I want you to write down, think of a number that is your expected average compensation. This is not a percentage, this is a dollar number. Now, some of you choose to charge by percentage, others choose to charge by a flat fee, others choose to charge per hour. That is irrelevant to me. You have a choice, you have an imagination for what you expect to earn when you close a deal. Now, you can look at what your take home is, or you can look at your gross commission. Most of you are with Keller Williams, which is a capping business model, meaning that at some point you earn 100% of your commission, which is a really awesome thing. I would encourage you to estimate on the top line, what's your gross commission? Because then you just figure out whatever you owe to your market center each year, that's just the cost of doing business, of growing your business. Like if you go and sell 5 more homes this year because of this session and what you chose to do this year because of it, those 5 transactions are going to more than pay for your partnership with KW. That's what this life-changing environment's all about. Okay, so your expected compensation, whatever number that is, multiplied by that number of people that are going to transact. That is your potential gross commission income. That is your potential income based upon who you already know and who is likely to transact already this year. It's like a foregone conclusion. Go ahead and start dropping those numbers in the group or in the chat. Devin says 75 grand based on his database. 177 for Ryan. Erwin 720. Julianne's got 270,000. $675,000 for Christopher Bullard. Arsom is 432. Trinity's 216. Jonah's 840,000. Somebody here has over $1 million of business already in their database. Cass is smiling because she realizes she hadn't finished the math yet. Look at that. Jennifer has got nearly $2 million worth of income already sitting in her database right now. Okay, so here's the thing. Then what you need or what you desire, what is worth pursuit for your business, that's totally up to you. But I want you to decide right now that number that you're dropping in the chat, that $7.9 million, is that more than you need or is it less than you need? Because every one of you now has a desire or has a critical decision. Are you going to build all of your systems to serve the people you already know? And then over time, you can top grade it. Like I've talked with some of you about building a smaller list of people with much higher value to your database. You might need to whittle your database down to figure out who's most important. I don't mean don't include those. Include everybody in your database. And figure out who you're going to build systems around that can really produce. Because following up with 27,000, can I tell you, I have 43, in one database, I have 43,000 contacts in it. I cannot have quarterly phone calls with 43,000 people. I don't have the time. So I got to choose my much smaller database. Now, the database that I work in particular, it's the agents that I work with directly. And I do my best to keep that to a dozen. I've got, I think, 147. I'm a little bit over what I'd like to have because I want 144 exactly. Now I'm okay with 150. It's still within that rounding error. We call this Dunbar's number, scientific principle. I can keep them in a relationships top of mind. For my real estate business, we have just over 2,000 homes in our neighborhood. I, my wife and I don't have the capacity nor the desire to have one-on-one conversations with all of those 2,000 something people once a quarter. And so we operate differently. We find ways at scale to engage with a whole bunch of people at a lot of different events. And we have a really big social media presence where we nurture them and we serve them in a really big way. Like we're doing yeah, property tax protests with them right now. And it's a way to serve a whole bunch of people. We'll help about 500 people do that. So here, whatever it is, figure out how do you engage those people you already have at a really high level. And if you don't have enough already in your business, what are you going to do to introduce a whole bunch more people? So building your database, feeding your database, and communicating with your database. You're going to hear about feed it and communicate with it. We're going to talk briefly on build it today. I'm going to give you some homework to do. That is to build your database. You've got a spreadsheet in your toolkit. I encourage you to use it. First step is to purposefully build your database. Build it in a spreadsheet. I mean, that's what I did. I took an Excel file. I would use Google Sheets if it were today. And I exported everybody from my phone. I had an Android at the time. I exported everybody from Google Contacts. I dropped into to an Excel file. And from top to bottom, I started refining it. What that looked like to me is I called everybody from the top of the sheet to the bottom of the sheet. And if it's somebody I didn't want to talk to anymore, I deleted that row. If it's a number that didn't exist or somebody, if I didn't know who they were and I couldn't reach them and it looked like it was not great information anymore, I just got rid of it. If it was a business, like I had Dry Clean Supercenter as one of my contacts as a rookie agent, I deleted that row. I know where they are. I'm going to take my clothes there. If I can meet the manager or the owner and I can put them in my database, that's a different story, but I don't need the business in my database. And I refined what was like 900, I boiled down to like 370. That 370, I did everything I could to have a conversation with every single one of them, and I brought them all into my database. Built a database out of that. For many of you, you'll choose to use command. Here are the elements. There are 6 items that you're going to want to have. One is the name of the person. I would encourage you to make it a first name, like last name also. But this is not a family. This is not a household. It's not one contact record for the Smith family. It's one contact record for James Smith. It's one contact record for Nancy Smith. A household has multiple people. You address people as people, not as the household. Their cell phone number. Very few people have landlines. You might have their business line. Do everything you can to get their mobile line so you can text them. Their email address. Email is great for you to be able to email people. It's also really important that you can see them that's their unique digital identifier. People change their phone numbers over time. They rarely give their email address to somebody else. When Gmail first came out in, it was like 2005, 2004, whatever it was, I have the exact same Gmail address from the year that it was in beta. In fact, like the very first email is welcome to the Gmail beta. I had no idea what I was doing. I was still using a Hotmail address. I was like, okay, my buddy invited me. I will never change that. Now it's a junk folder at this point, but when I go to log into things, it's for many things what I log in with. You can capture that about people when they log into your technologies. Have their mailing address. Yes, it's valuable to mail things to people, but also we are in the business of helping people move from one place to another place. So understanding the place that they are now allows us to provide hyperlocal value to where they are. We can see clusters of people. Where do people live that I already know? If I can have a record of where everybody lives, then if one person is looking for a certain kind of home, I can look at my database and say, okay, what kinds of homes are already in my database? Can I call those people and say, hey, I have no idea if it's right for you, but I've got somebody looking for a home that is exactly like yours. Crazy question. Are you interested in selling? Feel free to say no, but I got to ask. You can't ask that if you don't have their address. Past record of business, I would include as like past coworkers. If you worked with them in the past, what's that connection point? What's the reason that you've been engaged in some kind of professional sense? If they're a past client, what kind of business did you do with them in the past? And then if you have wants, needs, important dates, birthdays, anniversaries, are they pre-approved for a mortgage? All those kinds of things. Those are notes that you'll keep on people. Your sphere of influence is the most important one. Remember when I said that 8 out of 10, 4 out of 5 of your deals in your first 2 years? Now, many of you are past your first 2 years. But if you're not experiencing this kind of conversion rate, that's why I'm inviting you go back to the fundamentals, because still to this day, 4 out of 5 of your next transactions are going to be people that you already know, not necessarily new people. Now you're going to hear in week 4 about open houses. That's number 2 lead source. But the number 1 lead source you're looking at on your screen right now. Open houses are great. And you have a greater one. You already know these people. By the way, everybody in your world should know you're in real estate. So if you've been a secret agent for 6 years, it's time. Tell everybody. If you've been a secret agent for 6 days, change it. Go tell everybody. Shout it from the rooftops. Tell everybody. If people quit following you or quit being in a relationship with you because you're a real estate agent and maybe that's what you're nervous about, guess what? Those people are probably never going to hire you anyway. And that's probably not a very good friend. If they're not rooting for you, that may not be a relationship you carry into the next phase of your life. Find the people that love you, that want you to win, that are looking for ways to support you winning. All right. We are rounding out. Yeah. So this is right at the end. I'm going to read you Jordan Davis. I'm a bold junkie. We're right at 7. I've got probably 3 minutes left, and then we're going to dismiss for tonight. Please come back tomorrow. We're going to continue this conversation with feeding your database and communicating with it. Bold changed my life, by the way. It changed who I am as a person, who I am as a father. It changed who I am as a leader, as a business owner, as a salesperson, as a friend, as a family member, all of these things. And I don't believe that it's about the curriculum or the class or anything else. It's about the environment that you get to step into and walk out of that place a changed person. It is about transformation. And I don't think you need to necessarily walk into that room to experience a lot of that. After moving from Miami to Dallas to be closer to family, Jordan Davis decided she wanted to become a great real estate agent after not being served well by her agent. Anybody else have that experience? You're like, that was a terrible experience. I can do better. That's why you're in real estate. I'm seeing a whole bunch of nods. She enrolled in BOLD. It's a business objective life by design. 2 months after getting her license, which helped her get a strong start in her business. And although she had no real estate experience, she had close ties with family and friends. She found people who were willing to give her referrals, who had real estate needs or questions, and who were willing to work with her because of what they knew about her and her character. In a brand new city, because Jordan was diligent about lead generation, she sold 17 homes in her first year. Brand new city, folks. So if you've been living in your city for a while, by the way, you have no excuse. It is a matter of big action. Jordan continued to foster relationships with her sphere of influence. And in her second year, she sold 24 homes during her pregnancy with her second child. The growth in her business happened while she was on bed rest for 4 months before her second child was born. She sold houses by relying on her agent network. And as other agents did her showings, she helped them with their paperwork. If you're dual career, think about what that looks like. She was on bed rest. This probably looks like dual career. She couldn't go anywhere. She had other people doing the work for her. For those of you who have full-time availability, can do real estate full-time, I would imagine, like, maybe you just need a big enough reason. She had a new city. She had a growing family. She had something to prove. She had kids that were or were going to be looking up to her. And we're going to be looking back at what she chose to do in this new city when they were coming into this world. She took a stand. She had a big reason to win. One of the people she stayed in touch with consistently was the pastor who officiated her wedding. Although he didn't have any immediate real estate needs, that's what most of the time it sounds like, by the way. Like, no, I'm not looking to buy or sell right now, but I'm glad to know that you're a resource for me. When she first connected with him, he called a couple years later when he did, and at the closing table for the sale of his house, he asked if she could help his daughter, who'd recently graduated from college, to find a job. His daughter then became an integral member of Jordan's team. Jordan's story shows us how nurturing relationships can build your business, not just by bringing in new and repeat clients, but by building a great team and professional network. Her team now sells over 250 units a year. There are things that I know, practices in my business right now, that I credit to Jordan and things that I learned from her. I know her personally. She lives a big life, and she inspires and empowers a lot of people. And she serves a ton of buyers and sellers as well. It's because she committed to big action earlier on. Yesterday morning, no, this morning actually, we have an agent who has she's from Chicago. She has people moving from Chicago to Dallas. She has somebody that's selling their house. She's earning a referral fee, by the way, on their listing. She's selling their house in Chicago. They're moving here, but the lady needs an x-ray tech job before she gets here. Like, she cannot qualify for a mortgage, so she can't buy until she lands a job. So our agent starts talking to people she knows. Who does she know that can find somebody with an x-ray tech job? Talks to another agent who is a nurse, works in hospitals. This nurse agent is then at her nursing job, and she talks to, it's in the OR. The x-ray tech comes in for a minute, delivers some results to give to the doctor. She has a brief conversation with them. Says, hey, by the way, are there openings? He's like, actually, yeah, we have a real need. She's like, oh, great. How do I get connected? She found a connection with this person. This is another agent helping another agent find a job for their client. And guess what? That x-ray tech is like, oh, you're in real estate. Oh, that's so cool. Actually, I just moved here from, I can't remember what state, and I chose to live in McKinney, and it's an hour away. I'm driving through so much traffic, and I know I haven't lived there that long, but I'm going to sell. Can you help me? Because I need to sell. I want to be closer to here. There's a tremendous amount of trust built. This agent was helping another agent source a job for their client, and she wound up finding a listing and a buyer opportunity because of it. The conversations you have day in and day out are what build your business. So I encourage you to go and do that. Subscribe to the MRA podcast. You can hear more from Jordan. Your activity is this. Go build that spreadsheet we talked about. It looks like this, by the way. BT 120 Part 1 Session 1 database spreadsheet. And there's no magic to it. It's column headers. And maybe you can't find the spreadsheet. Just go build your own spreadsheet then. Put name, phone, email, home address, and start one at a time. Maybe you don't want to go use an existing spreadsheet. You say, okay, great. I'm just going to export my contacts, use that as a spreadsheet. Great. We can reform that spreadsheet. You can import it into Command or whatever CRM later, but go build a spreadsheet. iCloud Contacts has that ability. Google Contacts has that ability. And I cannot wait to hear from you tomorrow and what kind of big database you're starting to build. This is where the rubber meets the road.
Could you please go back to the first slide that you put on this one? Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
To get it and then I couldn't have it. Okay,
yeah, you can see
you.
the notes here. I'm going to encourage y'all when you're having phone call conversations, two things really quick. And I know we're 7 minutes over, so we'll wrap, but I want to take some takeaways. If you guys have questions or some ahas, a minute to share, please respect the do not call registry and the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. It is so critically important that you only call people that you have permission to talk to. Because otherwise, your entire real estate business and your entire life may be torn down. It is illegal to contact people that you don't have permission to contact for business purposes. And so please follow the law. Here's the cool thing. Like in my city, the reason I've got such a huge database is not because I know all of those people, but I want to earn the right to contact everybody. And so we continually have efforts to attract people to our business where they choose to give us their contact information, such that if I ever have a reason to call them, they've already given me that right. If they're in my database, they've given me permission, I can pick up the phone and call them. I have record that they said it's okay. If I've never strived to build a big database, I don't have permission to call. So that's another great reason. Start with who you know, because it's really expensive, like cost prohibitively expensive. There's no way to cheat it, by the way. Like, don't send pre-recorded voicemails or text, AI voice. Like, there's laws against that. Understand what those rules are. When you're talking to people on the phone, clacking on the keyboard is distracting. They don't think you're listening to them. Even if that's exactly what you're doing and you're recording notes, handwrite your notes or find a permissible way, perhaps to have an AI counterpart that helps you record that conversation where you can then go and record the notes. Or better yet, this is what I do so often if I'm not taking handwritten notes, I'll finish the conversation, I pull up AI or I'll pull up any kind of transcription and I just voice record something about that conversation. So I don't have to go and record all the notes and write it down. I can talk faster and I just kind of free speech what those notes are and then I can drop them into that CRM so I don't forget these things. Google has a new app for iPhone called AI Edge Eloquent. It's really cool. It is transcription that does not need an internet connection. AI Edge Eloquent. It's really neat. So you might have that up. And if you're using Command, by the way, and you built your database, after you make a phone call or send a text message with Command, it's going to ask you, hey, how'd this go? Did they answer? And then it gives you a spot to leave some notes. You can drop a voice record in there. It transcribes it to text. Super easy. Elaborate on the CAM spam list. Review the list of the no call. I'm not going to train on the do not call registry. I'm going to encourage you to know. You need to go do your research and understand because there is no explanation that I can give you that will give you a full understanding of the law. So it's important. But here's the hack. The hack is go earn the people in your database, build a relationship with them. It makes these less relevant or irrelevant. Like if somebody tells me, hey, please call me, then if I call them because they said, please call me, the do not call registry does not, it does not apply there because they literally overrode it by asking me to call them. So go operate in such a way. Can spam is about email, by the way, and other digital communication. Thank you so much for asking. And thank you for dropping the link to AI Edge Eloquent. It's coming to Android as well, but right now it only exists on iPhone, unless they dropped it on the Play Store as well since last week. It's a brand new app. Came out last week, and it's pretty neat. All right, I'd love to hear some takeaways. What are the things you learned? What are your ahas? Final questions? Let me get 2 ahas to share. What are things you're going to implement based on this session tonight?
I was gonna say, I really like you're honestly blowing my mind with the last few minutes there with the spreadsheet and all that stuff. I think tonight my plan is literally right after this to instantly go ahead and start working on that, and then what I'll probably do since I have your number, if it's okay with you, is shoot you a little message, kind of showing that I've done my homework. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's something I'm going to try and do right after this. And tomorrow I want to sit down with those numbers and go back in and call those people just to make sure the name is out there, make sure people know, and that my sphere is aware that I'm a real estate agent. So
That's so good. Oh, so we're kind of cheating ahead because this is something we start talking about tomorrow. But how cool would it be as you are refining your database, when you're on that row for that person, that's when you call them and you can update and all of those things all at once, right? Hey, I realized I'm missing your address, or hey, can I verify your email address? Ask them about their life. When it turns around and they ask you, like, actually, I'm so excited. The reason you came up is because I was building a record of all the people I knew. And I realized we hadn't talked in a while, but I'm in real estate now. And hey, actually, I should ask because I want to be able to serve you. This is what I have as your email address. Can you verify? And hey, I'm missing your mailing address. Hey, if you capture somebody's mailing address, by the way, one of the coolest things you can do is go write them a handwritten note put it in the mail. It'll take you hardly any time. It costs you $1 maybe to go mail in something cool. And what a lasting memory you'll form as well. Listen, folks, you have one time ever to tell somebody that you're in real estate like that you're new in real estate. I mean, you could tell them again, but like you have one first time ever. Make it lasting, make it a lasting memory. If you're new to this business, what a really cool opportunity to create a huge, huge presence. If you're waiting for your social media post to introduce yourself to the world, I invite you to do that. But also, week 5, you get to hear about social media, and maybe you'll build up that courage then. Go take action, folks. Remember, 10 conversations a day, 5 days a week. Today is one of those days, so that within 120 days, you can get 9 clients. That's the plan. Thank you so much for spending your evening with me. I love you all. You make this all worth it. We will see you real soon.